Boop, bada boop, 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 boop. Hi, Kids Place Kids. Somebody's gonna say hello, I think, from the side. It's Miss Muggs coming in for a close-up and... Oh no, she ran away. So today, we're gonna make pumpkin bread. There she is. She's saying hello, hello. My sister made pumpkin pie last night for her partner's birthday. And we had an extra can of pumpkin opened, so I thought, well, let's make pumpkin bread. This is the recipe, which I'll show you again at the end of the video. It's pretty simple. These are the ingredients you're gonna need. Vegetable oil, flour. You can use whole wheat or white, it doesn't matter. 4 eggs, cinnamon, cloves, nutmeg, baking powder, and baking soda, and some salt, and 1 big can of pumpkin. If you only had a little can of pumpkin, you could cut this recipe in half and do some math. And water for at the end of the recipe, and some white sugar. So you can preheat your oven to 350 degrees. This recipe calls for bread pans. We don't have any, so we're going to use 2 of these little cake pans. And then we'll have 2 cakes of pumpkin bread instead of loaves of pumpkin bread. So you know what I did first. Wash my hands for 20 seconds, and I know you're trained. So we're gonna need a mixing bowl. And the first thing that we're gonna do is our wet ingredients. And those are things that have moisture in them. So the first thing we're gonna do is 3 cups of sugar. And I kind of already measured it just to make it go a little bit faster. And we're going to mix the sugar with our vegetable oil, and it's 1 cup of vegetable oil. And it says to whisk, so I'm going to use a whisk, but you could use a spoon or a spatula, whatever you want. And you're just going to mix the sugar with the olive oil. And the next thing that we're going to do is add our 4 eggs. So I'm going to start cracking those eggs right now. I know some of you are very, very good at cracking eggs. I hope you've been having fun. I got to see Eva and Jack yesterday. I got to see Damon's dad when I was working in my garden. He drove by. It was kind of fun to see people, but I sure miss everybody. I miss everybody a lot. I hope you're getting to talk on the phone to some of your friends. It must be really hard just to be at home, but also kind of fun. Eva and her family and Jack, they were riding their bikes around the Skyline track, and it looked like they were having a pretty good time. And then they were gonna play basketball. So the next thing I'm going to add after the eggs is our big can of pumpkin. And now I'm going to use a spatula to get this pumpkin out of the can. I know some of you won't have pumpkin at your house, and I'm sorry, but we happen to have it, and Linda made pumpkin pies last night, and so we're making it. And maybe you will have a can of pumpkin hidden somewhere in your house. I don't know. It's not really pumpkin season. I'm gonna try the whisk and see if I can do it, and if I can't, I'm gonna use the spatula. Ooh, we are gonna fill up this bowl. This is a big recipe for that big can of pumpkin, but I think it's gonna fit. Now the spatula is actually working better to get the sugar and the oil off the bottom of the pan. Did any of you make bread in a bag? Ours was really good. We ate it up in a couple days. It was yummy. That's looking pretty mixed up. And to save time, I already measured my flour, and it takes 3.5 cups of flour, and I already measured the salt, the cinnamon, the cloves, the baking soda, the baking powder, and I already mixed that all in here. So I'm gonna dump this in and get it mixed up. And then we're gonna do the flour, alternating it with some water. Sometimes you don't want to mix flour and water at the same time because the flour will lump up. So I'm going to put some of the flour in, and you can use whole wheat flour or white flour, it doesn't matter. I used a combination. So I'm going to dump a little flour in. My ring is tapping. And then once I get that mixed, my bowl is going to be completely full. I'm going to add some water, and you're going to need 2/3 of a cup of water. So I'm going to add a little water in. This is going to be super full. So your oven is probably preheating at 350. And I'm gonna mix and hope that all this fits in this big bowl. We'll see. It's gonna fill it up to the top. All my garden's starting to grow. My snow peas are growing, my kale and my spinach. Everything is starting to grow. I'm getting kind of excited. Oh, I don't know if this bowl's going to be big enough. Woo! I don't think it is. It is full to the very top. I might have to switch it out to another bowl. We'll see. Oh, Linda, could you bring me a big bowl, please? Maybe your big silver one. I didn't know this was going to be such a big recipe. It's nice to have a helper in the kitchen. Thank you. Ta-da! This will be a lot easier to mix. So now we know if you make the full recipe, you're going to need a really big bowl. It'll be a lot easier to mix in this bowl. Oh, Mugs is watching. She's not sure if she'll like pumpkin bread or not. There, I got most of it. So now I'm gonna mix kind of hard. Oh my gosh, this is a lot of batter. I hope it tastes good. I've never made this recipe before. I've made pumpkin bread before, but never this recipe. My other sister, Donna, talked to me this morning, and she said she has a favorite pumpkin bread recipe that doesn't use any eggs. And I said, well, the recipe I found online uses eggs. It's looking pretty mixed, and I still have more water to add. It smells really spicy. Like you're making ginger cookies or something. I've got a few lumps of flour, and I'm trying to get those out because I broke what the recipe called for, and I added water before I had all my flour mixed in. So be sure when you do it and you put half your flour in, mix it all in before you add the water, and then your flour won't lump, but it looks pretty good. So I'm going to add the last of the water and stir that in. Man, I'm glad we got a bigger bowl, or I would have been in trouble. When I'm done mixing, I'm going to get the pans and we're going to spread a little bit of vegetable oil on them and then dust it with flour, and that keeps the pumpkin bread from sticking to the pan. So I think we're looking pretty good here. I like stirring with the spatula more than the whisk. So there it is. I'm going to set that there. So I've already put just a little bit of oil on a piece of paper towel, and then we can rub it around, and then you take just a little bit of flour and you pat it around like this. Kind of like beating a drum. And when it's all kind of has a little coating on it, you're ready. If you get a little too much, you can dump it out. And then you're ready to put your batter in. So we're going to put about half of our batter in this pan. That looks about right. And then we're going to pop it in the oven. So we're going to put it in a 350 oven for 1 hour. When you take it out, if it doesn't quite look done, you can put a little toothpick in it. And if the toothpick looks pretty clean, it's probably done. And now we're going to check our pumpkin bread. You can use a toothpick, stick it in, pull it out. It looks perfect. Oops. So the pumpkin bread came out of the oven. It looks perfect. That recipe was really big. It made 3 pans, so if you wanted to cut it in half, you sure could. Here are the ingredients you'll need. And these are the directions. I hope you have fun and you make it. It smells so good. See you next time. I hope you can make pumpkin bread. Bye.